Hello there, everybody. Welcome back for some more Bionicle Heroes. This is episode 4, and today I think we're still going through Thok's Mountain to go take care of Thok. Yeah, we've only done one level. Alright. Oh, man. This world in particular is not really my favorite. I know it's an ice world. And usually I'm pretty fine with ice worlds, but in this sense, not really. Sorry about not having a lot of recordings this weekend. Or much, for that matter. As I've said before, I'm doing this at my own pace, however I feel like doing it. And, to be honest, I don't feel like doing a lot of videos every week. I've actually not been uploading a whole lot of Transformer stuff. I did like one episode yesterday, and it took me forever just to want to actually edit and get commentary for it. I've been playing a lot of games, I've been working, there's a lot of stuff that's just been going on. There's a lot of factors that have been happening to where I just don't really feel like recording very much. And to be honest, recording's not really one thing I need to do all the time either, so. And, you know, I respect, well, I don't think really, well, I do respect you guys for being very patient, though. I will say that. I do respect the patience. I'm so glad that people are actually willing enough to be like, hey, you know, I'll watch when you upload. Stuff like that. Well, nobody's really said that, but that's just the feeling I get. I feel like people are probably more than likely pretty lenient on when I upload, as I am with my uploads. They're probably like, you know, who cares? If Alex uploads, he uploads. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm here to watch him. I'm not here to force him to be like a super popular, famous YouTuber or something like that who uploads every day. Which is something I don't think I can probably ever do. Because I get bored pretty quickly with all this stuff. Well, I mean, it takes a little bit of time to get bored, but I can get pretty bored doing something all the time, every single day. That just will grind on me. Like, I don't even like to work every day. I know there's people out there that do love to work like every day, but I'm just not one of those people who can work 24/7. And plus, I hate my job. Well, I hate the work part of it. I love the people. And I made friends, by the way, so, which is crazy of me. I don't usually make friends. I remember talking to one of the guys I talked to, and I was saying that I've made friends while I've worked here, and he's like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm like, okay, well, that's on you. If you don't want to make friends, you don't have to. There's really nothing wrong with that. He just sounded like he was angry when he said it, like, he was angry at me or something. I'm like, well, I'm just saying how I feel. I've made friends before, like, you know, when I used to go to school and stuff, and I don't know why it was fine there, but, like, you can't do it at work. I mean, come on. And yesterday I was supposed to go and see the new Star Wars movie, the Force Awakens movie, but instead we went out and saw it today, which I actually just got back from watching. My God, it was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful. I will not spoil anything. I'll not say anything. You know, I know there's a lot of people on the internet that are probably trying to stay away from the internet because of spoilers, but I actually, since I've been on the internet, I've not actually seen a lot of spoilers. I've seen spoiler warnings. I've not actually seen anybody outright out of nowhere just instantly say what's going on, but I will admit, it got me into a Star Wars mood again, and I just, a while back I got into one, and then I kind of fell out of it, and then now I'm back into one again. I've never actually seen all the movies. I've seen at least a few of them before, but I've played the Lego games. That counts, if anything. But like I said, it was amazing. It was a beautiful piece of work, beautiful piece of art. My one problem I had was the fact that it was kind of predictable with where situations would go. But I didn't really mind it because it made the movie go by quick. You know what I mean? Like, the movie, all the scenes went by in a nice relative fashion. And I guess I can speak about something else that kind of has something to do with this. Well, I recently beat Wolfenstein: The New Order, and by the way, I love that game. That game was awesome. I'm going back through it again. This time on I Am Death Incarnate or whatever. Not Uber yet. Not the hardest yet, but I'm on hard. Not very hard. I recently beat it on normal. And it was I was impressed. I didn't know it was going to be, you know, one of the best ID Software games I've played. You know, I like the Doom franchise to a point. and I like the Wolfenstein franchise to a point. But now with Wolfenstein: The New Order, it's like, yeah, I like it a lot more. When it came to like ID Software games, it was like Doom was like, okay, it's Doom, you know. Wolfenstein's like, it's Wolfenstein. It's still pretty good. They're doing better. But now all of a sudden, this is like a whole different jump in a whole different direction here. And I will admit, I was impressed by the game. I was straight up pretty much impressed by it. It was a nice game. Kind of not really heavy on the gore factor, but they do show off some scenes that are pretty violent. But I wouldn't really say it's a gory game. Yeah, they have gore, but my version of gore is a lot worse than that. The gore that I like, well, I'm not, I don't get a hard on or anything like that. I just like seeing in my video games. I'm not a violent person. It's a fantasy world, of course, Of course you would think like I would enjoy seeing that. But, yeah, I don't know, just the death was alright. The final boss was actually a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like one shot to the face, the guy's dead. No, it wasn't like that at all. It was totally different. There actually was a final boss fight, which I was surprised. And I don't want to spoil anything for that game either, but I'm actually kind of glad that you can keep all your weapons. Sometimes you lose your weapons and you get them back, but the upgrades you get for those weapons will actually stay on. Like, the upgrade with the grenade launcher. The funny thing is, I went through the whole game without upgrading my health. I did not know there was health upgrades the entire time. So now I'm trying to go back through it and get all the collectibles and stuff like that and get all that stuff done with. And at least they save your collectibles. The one thing that really bugs me is there's 2 different stories you can play. But how it works is it works on one option. You do one thing in the game, and that somehow concludes what your story is going to be like. It's just, it doesn't work for me. I mean, I like, kind of like, with Bioshock, except with Bioshock, you can always change your decision at almost any time, to a point. You can harvest a bunch of little sisters, but I think if you harvest more than you rescue, then you'll get the bad ending. But I think it's like if you rescue, then if you start rescuing more than you harvest, you should at least be allowed to get the good ending specifically. But it might still be to the point where it's like, no, you already started harvesting. I don't know exactly 100% how that stuff works, even though I'm supposed to know everything about that game, right? Oh man, the freaking Deleuze gun is amazing. I love this gun. But what was I talking about? Wolfenstein. Yeah. It is a great game. I'm willing to do it on my channel sometime. I'm willing to do it on both channels, actually. That's what I should say. So I guess I'll get into more greater detail when I get to that game. But I know it's not an ID Software game. I know it's a 3D Realms game. But Duke Nukem, out of the original Doom clone games, Duke Nukem 3D would have to be my personal favorite of the 3. And then, well, I mean, back then, like the DOS type games and stuff like that. But nowadays, I don't know about Doom 4 yet. I know they have a new Shadow Warrior game that came out. And then there's Duke Nukem Forever that we all saw that came out that just, I haven't played it. I've only played the demo, so I can't really say a whole lot about it. But from what I've seen, it doesn't look like that good of a Duke Nukem. It looks like an okay Duke Nukem. It actually looks okay. I think the reason why people didn't like it very much is because they thought it was just going to be this massive, awesome COD shooter game. But then, like, all the Duke Nukem fans might have been like, well, we didn't really expect it to be like that. We just expected it to be just Duke Nukem. And from what I understand, I guess some of the Duke Nukem fans were kind of let down by it. I can't really say that I'm a fan of the Duke Nukem series. I never actually played the side-scrollers, so I have no knowledge on that stuff. I just really like Duke Nukem 3D and 64. I just think they're a lot of fun. It's a fun little shooter game. I'm just saying, like, out of the Doom clone. Then there's Disruptor. I've never played that either. That's a Doom clone, I believe, for the PlayStation 1 that Insomniac made. Their first game, apparently. Probably not. I don't know for sure, though. I used to know. Or I used to think I would know, but now it's like I don't even know anymore. I just don't know anymore. They might have had another company. Who knows? And then like Doom 4 is coming out. I'm pretty hyped up for that. That game looks pretty freaking awesome. And it's Doom, for God's sakes. Doom is one of those games I like to just sit down and play every once in a while. If I'm really that bored, I'm like, you know what, I want to play something quick, fast-paced, and just filled with, you know, just death everywhere, just blowing stuff up. Duke Nukem kind of lets me do that, but Doom is the one that I usually like to run around and just blow stuff up. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Just Duke Nukem is one of those games I have to like sit down and play throughout the game entirely. I can't just stop. As with Doom, it's like I can stop whenever I feel like, and then come back and be fine. And the thing is, I don't really like Wolfenstein 3D. I don't really enjoy the first one. I have played it. You're going through, it's not the same level every time. It's just, the levels all look the same, and it just, well, it's obvious why. I mean, they probably couldn't really do a whole lot back then, as they could with Doom, I assume. And then I've never really played a Shadow Warrior game before. I know what they are, I've seen them, but I've never actually played them. The same thing goes with Blood. I've seen them, watched a Let's Play on it, but I never really, or a walkthrough or whatever, gameplay, whatever it was, walkthrough, something like that. A playthrough. But I've never actually experienced the game myself. Although I heard I think there's like 2 of them. And it'd be nice to see like a remade one. But out of the newer games that are out right now, I've not played the new Shadow Warrior game, so I don't know about that. But so far, Wolfenstein 3, or not 3, Wolfenstein, the one after '09, the New Order, seems kind of cool. And I know there's the old Blood, but I don't know if that's DLC or, I assume it's probably DLC, if anything. I don't think they would make a whole nother friggin' Wolfenstein game out of nowhere, just because. But out of, like, the thing that, like, each of them have their own kind of unique set of stuff to them, which kind of made games back then a lot more fun than they are now. It's because, yeah, you can say, like, oh, it was a Doom clone, everything's the same, but, like, Doom was an awesome game for its time. I think the reason why people don't say Wolfenstein clone, Doom being a Wolfenstein clone, is because it was made by the same company that made Wolfenstein, so they probably just assume, like, who cares? We'll let this one slide. But any other company that makes a game like Wolfenstein, we'll just call it a Doom clone, because Doom was the most recent ID Software game. I'm surprised that ID Software has been kicking around this long. I don't know if they still technically are or not. I know they have what they call the ID Engine 5, so that's something. Then there was Quake. You never ever really called anything a Quake clone. I think Quake was made by ID as well. I think they're also working with Bethesda and stuff like that. I think they mainly just, they work with other companies, not really make their own stuff anymore. I have to do some research and figure some of this stuff out, by the way. It's pretty obvious that I need to. But story-wise, Wolfenstein probably has the best of the stories, because they're working with the idea of Nazis. And usually when you work with Nazis, it's kind of one of those things that's sort of easy to get written down, but also you need to be very careful with how you write. It's kind of like with time travel. Like, most of the time, like with Nazi zombies, it's like they're Nazi zombies. You're shooting zombies that are Nazis. There's really no story to it. Yeah, they try to establish a story later on throughout the games, but they were just regular old Nazis that just happened to turn zombie for whatever reason. And then now, Wolfenstein shows this idea of Nazis being kind of like highly advanced. And, like, what if they did win the war and stuff like that. And I have to admit, the characters were pretty nice. The cinematography was great. The cutscenes were awesome, but they were too freaking short sometimes. Like, actually, sometimes I wanted the cutscenes to go on for a while, but they would end kind of abruptly sometimes. I'm like, okay, are we done? that ended kind of quickly. I wanted to see more, but alright. I mean, that doesn't destroy the game as a whole. Not at all. It just makes it kind of odd, Like, I like cutscenes in my games. I like skippable cutscenes. If I play a game once, I would love to have the ability to skip a cutscene. Some games actually do it to where you have to watch the cutscene the first time through, but then after you play again, it's like, yeah, you can skip them. You already seen it. Except for Other M. that's the one game that just says, no, you need to watch these cutscenes because we made these for a reason. It's like, yes, you made them for a reason, but the player deserves to have a choice to watch it or not. But, you know, apparently to Ninja Theory, that was not a good idea. You know, having this crazy, weird story going on here is definitely the forefront of the game. That's what makes the game so awesome. It's like, no, actually the gameplay was pretty fun. And the fact that you guys are making a Metroid game was pretty cool, but it's Ninja Theory. They kind of suck. You know, it kind of hurts for me to say that, because they made some really awesome Ninja Gaiden games. Not the NES ones, I'm talking about, like, they did a great job at remaking the Ninja Gaiden series, or rebooting it or whatever. But that seems to be the only thing they're really good at. I don't know about Heavenly Sword. I heard it was pretty good. And then now they're making another game, which I don't remember what it's called, but it actually looks like crap. It just doesn't suit me. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, it looks pretty good. It does look pretty good. You know, give it a shot. Yeah, I'm willing to give things a shot, but I never judge a game until I've played it, of course. But this is one of those times where it's like it's hard for me not to judge the game because it looks like utter crap. When Hatred was coming out, I thought that game looked kind of interesting. It looked kind of fun. I know people are probably getting pissed off at that idea, but it seemed like a very fun game, but then actually looking at it even more, it seemed kind of monotonous. Because it is a top-down shooter game, and I don't really care for those very much. You can blame Dead Ops for that. Yeah, you can blame that. But yeah, I've just been really, not really busy, just been getting pretty lazy with recording. Because I've had these games I've been trying to beat. You know, I bought some new games. Christmas is coming around the corner. I felt like just stacking up on some games. You know, that way I can give myself something to play for a while. I love video games, it's pretty obvious. I love media. To a point. You know, I like cartoons. I like watching awesome new animes and stuff like that. I actually am interested in. I love playing new games and old games alike. Usually it's video games that are the one thing that I will definitely do. Probably for the majority of my life. Although I have friends that I do wish to hang out with. And most of the time, those friends are usually on consoles and stuff like that. Well, I don't meet them on consoles. I've met a few, but I'm not friends with them anymore. I don't usually make friends on, you know, multiplayer and stuff like that. I just think it's awkward. Like, you don't really know the person, you know, and then you meet them, and you still don't know anything about them. They could be totally lying to you about everything they're doing, you know, and you would never know. But then again, people can do that initially anyway. You know? It was funny. I used to think like I had some, when I was back in school, I used to think my friends were weird. But now I have these new friends, and I'm thinking like, yeah, those friends were completely normal in terms of this new friend that I have, that I met this year. It's ridiculous. Well, technically these friends, I have friends that just are definitely interesting people. And I am so glad to have people like that too, that are willing to hang out with me. You know, back then I used to be always kind of worried, dude. I'm like, man, nobody ever wants to hang out with me. I'm a loser. The only person who ever was willing enough to hang out with me was David. You know, I always felt like, even my friend... Oh, crap, wrong one. My friend from elementary, you know, I've known him for years. I always kind of felt odd being around him. Like, I always felt like maybe he didn't like me, because he was a popular person. He was a very popular person in school, so I always thought like, oh, I'm kind of not popular, so maybe he doesn't really want to hang out with me. And granted, he did, and I just didn't understand why. It confused me. You know, and I had friends that were... I had a few friends back in school that were girls, and they never really hung out with me. It was more of just like, hey, we're in school together. Let's talk about these weird things. You know, and then after I got out of high school, I still had my friends, but they were more like on Facebook instead of anything else. And I had David, you know, and I'd hang out with him all the time. And that's pretty much about it. Now I have another buddy that I'll play like Xbox with, because I bought an Xbox One earlier this year, and I've been playing with him not often. Like, it's not that I don't want to play with him, I just feel weird, you know? It's like, how am I friends with people that are completely social? Like, I'm not antisocial at all. I love to talk to people, and I just don't like talking to groups of people. This friend in particular, just, he's more of like a social kind of person, and for me it's like, I'm not really good with people. Like, I'll talk to a group, but I would always, when I go to like hang out at like parties or whatever, like birthday parties, I would always pick somebody specifically to go talk to, or a group of people to go talk to. And even at work, sometimes that happens. Like, you know, I see a group of people talking that are my friends, and I just jump in. And for some reason, I always feel like a douche, too. Like, I always feel like they don't want to talk to me. Why do I want to bug them? It's how I feel, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like people think I'm awkward. Simple enough. Like, ever since my uncle basically said I was an awkward fuck, it's become to the point where it's like, yeah, Alex, you're completely awkward, and you're an idiot. It's funny when people think I'm shy. I'm not. I just don't like to talk a lot. Simple enough. I like to be quiet. I like to keep to myself sometimes because I'm afraid it's going to get me in trouble if I run my mouth. Because that's the way I grew up. I was technically raised on the fact that if you start saying something stupid, your ass is going to get beat for it. And it kind of put some fear into my eyes. Like, man, if I really say something stupid to somebody, they're gonna hate me forever. You know, I've always been kind of self-conscious too about stuff like that, or just in general. But I mean, who isn't? So I don't know. Not everybody can be perfect, of course. Like I said, now it's weird because like people want, or it's not like they want. They just, you know, they're fine with doing it, with hanging out with me. And actually, I think one of my friends was the one that suggested we actually do hang out. And I'm like, you want to hang out with me? But it's so weird because like nobody ever wants to do that. And you know, I felt like it would be, I mean, I was fine with it. I knew like, man, that's awesome. You know, I want to hang out with a friend. And it's so weird because like now it's a girl that actually wanted to hang out for once. I'm like, what? I mean, sometimes my sister would hang out with me back then, but it was never like, I never really had anybody who was a female hang out with me. I'm like, okay. Now I guess I was wrong. You know, I always thought that just everybody hated me, and now it's like, no. There's nothing really weird about me hanging out with the opposite gender at all. I'm just saying that back then I always had friends that were females, and they never suggested we ever hang out. It was more of like, you know, let's just talk and that's it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But, you know, we could hang out, become friends a lot easier. We could be, you know, actual friends and just not talking buddies. And, you know, I guess people probably assume, and the thing that really bugs me is when I'm hanging out with somebody that is a female, people always assume like, oh, you just want to fuck her, right? No. That's not always the initial idea, by the way, fucktard. See, the thing is, I know a lot of people that are perverted like that, and they always think with their dick, and they always think that I think with my dick. I'm like, no, I don't. I actually have, I prefer people with personalities rather than just some piece of meat. Simple enough. And I assume that if they thought the same way about you, you probably wouldn't like it. Actually, they probably would. They probably fucking would like it. I'm gonna end off this video when I beat Nidhiki. So this might be a longer video than normal. I really don't care. I mean, it's fine either way. If I stop now, yeah, it's a let's play. It's probably like, oh yeah, it's probably smarter just to stop now, you know, because 25-minute, you know, mark, whatever. But I don't really feel like stopping. I'm fine with going. If you guys are fine with like a 30 or so minute video, like always, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I try to stop at 25 minutes because that just seems like a perfect amount. That's usually how much an episode for a TV show or a cartoon might run. But in this case, It might have to go a little bit over than that. I will be coming back through these levels anyway, so if I miss like any canisters or whatever, I really don't care because I'm coming back anyway. Yeah, I forgot how long of a level this was. I don't remember exactly what the longest level was. Actually, this is a not a hidden room, but more like a secret area of just treasure, pretty much. So if you want to get some studs now, you might as well just get some studs now. There we go. Man, I really feel like getting back into the Lego Star Wars again. I used to rent the second one a lot. And I remember playing the first one at my brother's friend's house and just really liking it. And then I bought them both. Or I didn't buy them both. I think I got them for Christmas. Either I bought them or I got them for Christmas or my birthday. As a present or whatever. Watch this. If I can do it. I don't know if it'll work. Sometimes you can get the... there it is. You see it flying back? Yeah. Sometimes you can actually get that thing to fly around before the cutscene even happens. It's kind of funny because then it attacks and it should work, yeah. It won't screw you over, I promise. At least it shouldn't. But yeah, I used to rent the second game a lot because I always thought it was a pretty cool game. It was always kind of fun, kind of funny. And I'd go back through it. And it's one of the best Lego games out there. Lego games nowadays just don't hit that same spot as they used to. And it's funny, I was reading a post on Twitter, and I follow Psychic Pebbles on Twitter. I doubt he's watching this, but I don't know why I say like anybody who ever would. But I saw his tweet, and he was talking about like how HD TV shows, or how like upping the quality of a TV show can like denote the idea. This is not exactly what he said, but this is what I'm just putting it as. It can just lessen the quality of the joke. And for the longest time, I've been telling people that too. Like, you know, all because you have a high quality show doesn't mean your jokes are funny. You know, you have to implement actual humor. I think it boils down to the idea of being on a budget, maybe. Like, some shows probably have a big enough budget to where they can do both jokes. SpongeBob, on the other hand, is not one of those shows. SpongeBob tries to go for the idea of being high quality, and at the same time fails in the joke standard as it used to be. Now back then, I'm not saying like the lowest of quality will make you the funniest show, because I remember the original season of SpongeBob, it was funny, but it wasn't really like humorous until like after like the second or third season or whatever, and then it started getting, the quality got upped, but it was just the perfect amount of quality. It was just like the perfect quality, and it didn't overstay its welcome. It was just a nice, funny cartoon because they had the ability to make these gags worthwhile. I don't know how to explain it. It's really hard. Everybody has their own initial sense of humor, and some more than others. And I know somebody that has no sense of humor at all that I live with, who's just a complete dipshit. Yeah, like, basically, my little sister has just no fucking, like, humor at all. Like, it just, I try to show her funny videos. Like, I'll be playing Smash with my brother or whatever, and we start getting distracted by other videos that are actually funny. He's having a good time, I'm having a good time, and then she's over here whining and complaining that we're not playing Smash. I'm like, well, fuck you, you know, simple enough. Now, my other little sister, who's actually a lot older than her, I assume probably more likely has a sense of humor. I mean, oh yeah, she does. She has a sense of humor. Speaking of them, after Christmas, I'm going to go down to my father's house, hopefully, and see my siblings that I've not seen in a year. So that means my other half-sister, and also my half-brother, and then probably not my stepbrother because he's probably not there, and probably more likely not my stepsister because she never shows up anyway. So yeah, that might be a whole different situation if it was put into that. Oh man, Nidhiki, hurry up! I just want you to be dead. Now he takes a while to kill off. It's a pain in the butt if you ask me. And I lost Nipperoo. Great. Yeah, I don't think you really lose Lego studs if you get killed off. I don't think you do. I don't really know. Come on, come on, come on. Just die. This is what I hate about these boss fights, is you have to wait for the hero mode to come up, and then you can use the hero mode. And why can't you just, like, infinitely spawn creatures? Like, what's his name? Riddick. I think his name was Riddick. The Earth Paraka. He's the one that I think that actually infinitely will spawn enemies to make it to where, like, you can actually get Lego pieces and get your hero mode done a lot quicker than usual. Oh man, this is like a 30-minute video. I might just have this one video up today, because we're like 13% done. You know, it's gonna be quite the playthrough. More than likely, when Christmas break comes along, I'll probably more likely end up playing this game a lot more and getting more videos out there. But for the time being, I just want to take my time with this game and just actually enjoy it, because if you play this game too much, it starts to drain on you. It really does. And then we have to go back through all this again and collect all those new pieces. I might just end up doing that off screen, because honestly, you guys can probably do that on your own if you're actually willing enough to play this game. Anyway, folks, without further ado, I'll see you all next time when we play some more Bionicle Heroes. Actually, no. I have a better idea. How about we get Holly's ability upgraded here? Let's get her full toe armor, because I don't know why you can upgrade only that one thing. Let's get her drench ability. And then let's get her a new weapon. I like to go in order. Just, I'm weird like that. So now she has her, not her harpoon, but some other weapon. I don't know exactly. It's a much better weapon, obviously, but there's still going to be laser weapons. But it's a lot stronger, I'll give it that. Wait till we get her harpoon. That's when shit's about to get destructive. Well, it's not extremely powerful. It's more like a medium weapon in a sense of damage. Kongu probably has one of the strongest weapons that you can get, because it's so quick on the draw, and same thing with Jalur. So hey folks, without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time when we play some more Bionicle Heroes. And as always, take care, everybody.